Yes, I hope to get back into studio, but it just didn't happen. There are going to be days like this. Mama said there will be days like these. There will be days like these, Mama said. That old good song. But here I am. That's the beautiful thing about technology is I don't have to be in studio. In fact, if you look at some of the best, Dan Bongino doesn't have to be in studio. Tucker Carlson. In fact, we got a clip from him today that I really want to break down because I think it's vital to looking forward and what lies beyond the election of 2024. But Tucker, you don't have to be in studio. This is what these people are losing their minds about. We don't need to sit in a high tech, commercialized production studio like The View or MSNBC or any of them to bring you content. And content is king. Without content, what do you have? You don't have a show. And it really doesn't matter what your studio looks like. I marvel when Bongino pans back in his studio and he's got crap laying all over the place. In fact, he even shares some of his crap with you. I mean, he was looking for the lips that he needed so he could demonstrate the lips kissing his rear end. But I mean, it just got stuff all over the place. And there's 5 total people on staff. And yet he is knocking it out of the ballpark. And this is what these people are losing their gourds about because they know their days are numbered. And especially with the rumors out there that, and I think it was purely in jest that Donald Trump Jr. challenged Elon to go ahead and buy MSNBC since it's on the chopping block or it's in a bad way. Who knows? Maybe Elon turns it into XNBC, and that would be beautiful. However, having the opportunity to come here Tuesdays, Thursdays on multiple platforms from X to YouTube to Facebook and then Rumble, the best of the best. Rumble. I prefer Rumble. Rumble obviously is the fastest growing way of delivering the content that has been censored for so long. Twitter is another one that's awesome, but really from a format of streaming live content, Rumble is making leaps and bounds, and I think will surely surpass YouTube at some point in the next few years, in light of everything we know. But the title of the show today is obviously, can accountability include grace and mercy? And I think this is where we're at, right? We're seeing the likes of Jack Smith discontinuing his whatever that was, the lawfare against President Donald J. Trump. All of these cases that were purportedly because Trump was a felon, was because Trump was this dastardly character that was going to ruin the country. Obviously, we know all the different adjectives that describe him. Some of them became verbs, some of them became nouns: misogynist, homophobic, xenophobic, fascist, Nazi. But with that all said, all of that is waning. But what isn't waning, and Ryan and I were just talking about this, and there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. That's Ryan Mack of the Ryan Mack Show. You can catch Ryan Mack at Ryan Mack Show. I'm sure that'll pop up here in the comments here shortly. But what Ryan and I were talking about is they're still counting votes in California.
Yeah. And they're flipping seats. There's only like 7 or 8 seats the Republicans hold, and they're flipping 2 of them as we speak.
Well,
just by adding votes.
And just adding, and it's 21 days after the election day. And they're still trying to figure out to claw out every victory they can. And none of this is above board, folks. This is why when Trump takes office and federal voter ID is implemented and we return to sanity when it comes to our elections, no more counting votes 65 different ways during a period of time which we deem election season rather than election day, and then beyond election day for another 21 days. In some instances, that's where we're at with California right now.
Yeah.
It's just got to stop.
Yeah, 640 million people in India can count theirs in a matter of hours, and yet California are taking 21 days after the election to count 60% of the votes.
Well, and that's a good point, Ryan, because what is truly happening? You know, is this that we know where they were taking the country? Obviously, if you don't control the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the presidency, and you're in a bad way. We did have the Supreme Court coming out of the Trump 1.0, Trump 45.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the Supreme Court, which obviously just fried them. That's what started the whole. They were going to try to pack the court with their Supreme Court justices to raise it up to 13, and try to put as many people in there as they could. That wasn't going to fly. They would have had to have a little bit more gusto with the House of Representatives than they did, which they did, and they lost that in the midterm. But you have so many different factions of our federal government in the depth and the width and what the corruption level. How many people? This is another agency that just purely has them shuddering, is the Department of Government Efficiencies. Because ultimately, a lot of these organizations that are funded by the federal government, taxpayer funded, you and I are paying for it, are organizations outside. They're part of the bureaucracy, but they're outside the federal government.
Yeah.
They're the ones responsible for the craziness of all this election stuff. And a lot of it was put in place under the Obama era, and Obama we all know the whole Acorn debacle, and some of that was exposed. But what really was exposed and what really wasn't? And I caution you always to realize the Republicans, along with the Democrats, created the situation we are currently in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bipartisan effort. The Republicans and the Democrats both aspire to have this, whatever it is, this government that is so huge, that continues to pour money into so many areas of the world. And they really, at the end of the day, they really don't care. In fact, I want to play this video, and this is really breaking the rules, but this is better than the DPB show. I have to be humble enough to realize that Tucker Carlson has a wider audience. I'm pretty certain he has a bigger audience than what Ryan Mack has.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Mack and I together can't match Tucker, but here's Tucker. And Tucker is laying this argument out. And this is one of the pieces that you probably didn't see because it was buried last week. But this is what this is truly about at the end of the day. Ryan and I also were talking about the fact that why did Joe Biden suddenly get into allowing long-range missiles to be fired into Russia?
Yeah, at the midnight hour of his administration.
Because he needs to hamstring Trump. This is part of the Trump proofing, not Washington D.C.
Yeah,
Trump proofing the world, so the man can never get enough footing to get the economy back in line, to domestically, to close the border, deport as many illegal immigrants that we can, opening up our natural energy sources like oil, drill baby drill, fracking. This is all calculated. That's what I'm saying. It's eerie quiet out there. Ryan was just commenting. It's really eerie quiet in the news cycle. Why? Because these people are going underground. The progressives, those crazies on the other side that were trying to destroy this country, are still trying to destroy this country.
Yeah, they'll just do it with nuclear weapons instead.
Well, so with that, I think that's a great way to segue into this, Ryan, because this is what Tucker had to say.
I am very concerned that the people who have hated Trump for 8 years and run out of ways to destroy him, indicting him, well, first calling him a racist, spying on him with the federal intel agencies, sicking the FBI on him, trying to put him in prison, then trying to kill him at least twice, probably more, actually, but at least twice. And that those people, out of options, have decided the only way to stop Trump and the disclosure that a Trump administration will bring, once again, disclosure is what they fear, having their crimes revealed, that the only way to stop Trump is with a world war. And so I've been pretty fixated on that for months, probably more than a year. I've just thought a lot about it. And I know a lot of the people involved, and they're very, very, very focused on war. Permanent Washington doesn't care about domestic policy, in case your viewers, I'm sure, know this, but just want to restate it. They don't care about domestic policy. They don't care about fixing the country, closing the borders, ending the drug crisis, getting the cartels out of, the entire Southwest. They don't care about that. What they care about is exercising power abroad, killing people because it makes them feel like God, and making money. And that's where the money is, trillions of dollars. So they care about foreign policy. And I have been concerned and remain concerned that that group of people, which is basically everyone in DC in both parties, wants Trump to take the country to war, either against Russia or, far more likely, Iran. And I think what people outside, I don't know how to the degree to which this is understood, but I just will say it. A war with Iran is a world war. This is not 2002. Iran is now part of a coalition that includes the biggest economies in the world and the largest militaries in the world. So a war with Iran means a war in effect, or, by proxy, but still a war with Russia, China, Turkey, and a lot of the rest of the world. So that's a world war. It's not just as simple as we're going to take out their nuclear facilities. Okay. How are you going to do that? And how are you going to ensure that that doesn't destroy the United States in the process? And of course, they don't care whether it destroys the United States. That's the actual answer. They don't care. And if they cared, they would pause and think about it. But anyway, I don't want to be bitter about it. But to me, it's really simple. Anybody who would even consider having a war with Russia or Iran should not be in any position of power at all in this administration or any other administration. It's super simple. And I think especially Ukraine is so obvious. Now, there is some debate on Iran, and I'm not endorsing Iran. I'm not a Shiite. But there's really no debate at this point about the debacle that has been Ukraine. Ukraine's not going to win. It's just completely destroyed Ukraine. It hasn't crushed Russia. It's really hurt the United States. So anyone who can't say that out loud should not have a job in the federal bureaucracy. So that's my litmus test. It's not about people or personality. Right. Of course, I know them all, as I know you do too, and I like a lot of them. I even like some of the guys I disagree with. One in particular I like very much. Nice guy, good guy. But it's a simple, practical test for whether or not you should wield power. Do you have the requisite wisdom to lead my country? And if you're still defending the war in Ukraine, you do not have the requisite wisdom to lead my country. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Have you heard that, Ryan, yet?
I had not, and that's a great take. And he's been that way for a long time on that stance. Whether you feel like you should initially support Russia not going in, throw money at Ukraine, we're way past that now. Especially with the information coming out that Ukraine is just as corrupt, if not more corrupt, than our own government. Why are we still funding it?
Which we've known.
Yeah, there's no interest for us in that war.
Yeah, well, but there's so much of that is not revealed, that's been buried, that has not been disclosed. The dishonesty, the corruption.
They blew up Russia's pipeline.
Yeah,
Ukraine. There's more to Ukraine. Did it?
Yeah,
we helped them. There's so much more to it that they're not telling anybody that came out much later. But endless wars, more money being spent, and again, like you said, there's no domestic policy for any of the swamp.
Well, and Tulsi just came out, Tulsi Gabbard, last week, and she talked about the biofacilities in Ukraine, in that how many of them are funded by the United States biofacilities, and we have no protections around those.
Yeah, none.
So I mean, they could disrupt and create international bio warfare
Yeah.
with just a stupidity of a missile launch, which now
Yeah.
that we're launching long range missiles per Biden's administration, whomever that might be, who decided that, as if that's truly what war is about. And this is the next piece. So, taking the Tucker piece, because I think this is important, and I know this might be a little bit deep and gravitating from the topic, but I really don't think it does. Accountability, I know.
No, it ties in. Yeah, accountability.
The accountability should include grace and mercy. I know a lot of people are saying, we can't pounce on the other side now. No, folks. They put us on a course that is where we find ourselves. It's not about, yes, I want to be a person of grace and mercy, but I don't know if some of these people truly understand what grace and mercy is about. So I guess that, and not that anybody has to know what mercy and grace is about, that you shouldn't extend it. I think we should, but it gets back to the accountability. It should rule the day right now. People have to be held accountable, whether that's Jack Smith, whether that's Biggs out in New York, whether that's Judge Merchan, whether that's Peter Strzok, whether that's Merrick Garland, whether that's Christopher Wray. The list goes on and on.
You don't have a nation if you're not being held accountable on law on some term.
And these are purely puppets. But you take the Carlson piece, which most people didn't see because this was one of the buried news pieces, because nobody wants to talk about the fact of what they're truly leaning towards, because this gets back to Trump-proofing America, which is really not about America.
Right.
It's Trump-proofing certain Americans.
Yes.
Which I use that word loosely describing them. Trump-proofing certain bureaucrats who are part of this centralized governing force throughout the United States and the world that create what Mike Benz, who, if you don't listen to Mike Benz, go out on Twitter, Cyber Benz, I think it's Cyber Benz, Mike Benz, just put in Mike Benz, you'll find him, and he'll break down this craziness, and it surely is mind-boggling. And ultimately, yes, this is a heavy subject. Yes, it is Thanksgiving week. Yes, we have a lot to be thankful for, especially knowing that we're having a discussion about it. And not only are we having a discussion about it, but guys like Joe Rogan are having discussions about it. And this is what he had to say. So taking what Carlson said with war, what really is war evolving or devolving into? And this is what we're looking at.
Process.
And there's also AI controlled jets, which are far superior. They did, Mike Baker was telling us about that. They did these simulated dogfights, and the AI controlled jets won 100% of the time over humans.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of reasons for that. And part of it is just simply the speed of processing and so forth. But another big thing is if you don't have a human in the plane, you don't have the, what do they say, the spam in the can. You don't have the, you don't have the human body in the plane. You don't have to keep a human being alive, which means you can be a lot faster and you can move a lot more quickly. And
G-forces.
Much higher G-forces.
Yeah. And then there's no option for someone to go crazy.
Yeah, that's also right. Yes, exactly.
There's no human element. Which is a real element.
Yeah. No, look, I think it's gonna be common to have like Mach 5 drone, jet drones within a few years, and they'll be a fraction of the size of the current manned planes, which means you can have like a lot more of them. And so you kind of want to imagine,
Yes, he said Mach. Yes, I should get myself on there. He said Mach 5.
Yeah.
Drone jets.
Holy cow.
But that gets back to the eye in the sky, right? Drone warfare. I mean, really, that's, and I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but please start to expand. If you haven't, I mean, most of you, or anybody that's going to view this, if they're looking at the content of the DPB show or the Ryan Mack show, your minds are expanded. But that's part of the reason they want to defund the police. They don't want police officers.
No.
They want drones.
Yeah.
Drone warfare, you know? And to even elaborate even further, we don't even protect the most powerful man on the face of the earth, Donald J. Trump, with drone technology.
No.
Would have that sniper, the kid in Butler, Pennsylvania, been able to even get a shot off at the president if there were eyes in the sky? Drone technology, which he had a drone.
Mhm.
He was flying it around the event
Yeah.
the day
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Ukraine has $40 drones that are taking out Russian things on their side of the country too.
Yeah.
It's all. I think I talked about this a while back, and I think Glenn Beck even mentioned it too. We are on the cusp of a industrial type revolution in this country that we could use to really grow and expand with our tech and our AI development. This could be a military revolution where we could get really that much better with our technology and not
Hey,
having to
hold on, Ryan.
spare human
Hold on.
lives. Yeah.
Cut real quick. Drew, the man, the myth, the legend was taking care of my water heater. Thank you. Are you all done? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Okay. We'll see how it works. We have water heater problems. Well, happy Thanksgiving. All right, man. Take care. Thanks for being part of the DPB show today, Drew.
It's
Actually,
important. Well,
it's kind of cool because Drew and I had a relationship that went way back. He was a client of mine back in the day in real estate. So, and then lo and behold, here he shows up on fixing my air conditioner earlier this year, and now my water heater.
Pay it forward. There you go.
He does a great job. Take care, brother. All right, man. So it's cool to have a service guy on the DPB show.
Yeah.
See, we go to all wells, but keep saying, Ryan. I'm sorry. I kind of
No, that's fine. But we're on the cusp of an industrial revolution in this country. The way Trump is bringing things back, we're going to make everything in our own country again. We're going to grow the economy that way. That American made is the best made. And you talk about military strength, we can grow it beyond capacity when we have AI technology. We don't need to spare a human life. There's twofolds. Now you get away from policing and you have a drone fly above your house if you're breaking breaking windows, I guess. But military speaking, around the world, stop sending our troops to other countries that have no national security interest. If we can exploit this technology and twice the speed of getting there and back, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, Mach 5, let's bring it. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut it off, but I had
no. That's fine.
Mach 5 was that brought my
that's insane.
1,000 of these things like coming over the horizon right at you, and it really changes. It's actually, I think, going to be very interesting. It really changes the fundamental equation of war in the following sense. Fundamentally, in the past, the people who won wars are the people who had the most men and the most material.
Right.
So you just needed the most soldiers and you needed the most equipment. And in this drone world that we're talking about, it's going to be the people with the most money and the best technology.
Yeah.
Right. And so, for example, small states, small advanced states like Singapore will be able to punch way above their weight, and then kind of large, sort of economically or technologically backward states that normally would have won will now lose. And so it's going to be a recalibration. And then it has the good news is you're not putting soldiers at risk, right? So you'll have a lot less death. The bad news, arguably, is it'll be easier to get into conflicts because you're not putting soldiers at risk. So there's going to have to be a recalibration of like when you actually like lean into an attack.
Because if not, you'll just be opening up a can of what on everybody at any time.
Yeah.
Because of the technology is so advanced, and especially you circle that around the capability of nuclear warheads that are armed and placed on drones, delivery systems. And I mean, I think we're at a point where there's so much on the horizon where we could realize an industrial, like you said, revolution, a renaissance, I should say, because industrial revolution, but a new way of living, a better way of living. And to now find out there are so many people that are trying to undermine. And once again, it's just not the Democrats or the far left, the radical left. It is, but most of those people on the radical left don't even have a clue of what was just said by Tucker or Joe Rogan and his guest.
Yeah,
because they're too concerned about trying to identify themselves as something other than a sex
Yeah.
or a gender.
Unicorns.
Yeah, whatever, unicorns.
And
Yeah.
they're glued to CNN, MSNBC, CBS, or their other blue-haired hosts on podcasts. I mean, they're out of touch, and that
But we know as we began the show off,
Yeah.
they're waning. I
mhm.
mean, the growing number. I mean, only so many people can jump ship and go to Jack Dorsey's Blue Sky. I
Yeah.
mean, and I knew that wouldn't hold any water, because what was going to happen was a bunch of conservative people were going to jump over there because they enjoy fodder, which gets back to the title, grace and mercy. Should we be having grace and mercy for these people? I do believe that no one's too far gone from realizing. We're hearing it. This is what this entire revolution was about. The
Mhm.
mega movement was about. Make America great again. People, for the first time in their lives, came to the polling place and voted. People who were lifelong Democrats
Mhm.
voted for
Mhm.
Trump. Why? Because they understand the essence of what it means to be a citizen of the United States of America and what that comes with. I mean, gosh, what these guys were just talking about. This isn't about preparing the turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Yeah.
This isn't about Christmas shopping on Amazon.
Mm-mm.
This has nothing to do with Amazon. It's a delivery system, okay, but
Yeah,
it's
good
a
luck.
delivery system you would think. I mean,
If you're a Hezbollah or Hamas terrorist and you're looking for an Amazon package for your pager and you get a bomb dropped on you instead by one of our drones.
it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. And so I guess, once again, I don't want this to be a downer show. I mean, I know that people are getting prepared, probably still traveling. I can sense it as I look into the viewing machine here, that as we're knocking down some time real quickly here today, and this is some deep topic, and granted, it's not something that everybody wants to hear, especially just ahead of the holidays, but it's the reality.
Mhm.
The victory, the winning the election, which that shows you that you can overcome the systematic fraud that was going on. Too big
Yep.
to rig. There's
Yeah.
a reason that Trump promoted too big to rig, because he knew there was an algorithm. There was a way to turn out voters
Mhm.
early in their system, right? This is not
Yeah. Yeah.
system
We
most-
use their system against them.
and it totally disrupted them. But it also came to realize there were people who are all out there going, okay, we're starting to understand, when we see the disparity between the rich and
Mhm.
the working class,
Mhm.
the uber wealthy. And I'm not saying that Trump's family's wealthy,
Mhm.
but it's interesting about them. They hang around with a lot of people in low places.
Yeah. Yeah, they're more relatable than the Hollywood elites that hang out with the Democrats.
That's right. I mean, I got friends in low places. I mean,
Yeah.
Donald Trump Jr., hunts around central Illinois, where we're
Yeah.
basically coming to you from.
Mhm.
He spends time in here deer hunting, and they're spotted out there. I don't know. Have you seen some of the trophy deer that are showing up?
Yeah, there's some big ones.
Where have those monsters been hanging out? My Lord. I mean, some of these folks that are putting down I know the season, I think the shotgun season just came to a
Just tipped
conclusion.
off. Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think it ends. Does it end this week, right? Or
Yeah.
is
I think
it
you're
was
right.
like a 4-day opening, 4-day cycle, and
And then a couple weeks later, there's another weekend. Yeah.
there's another weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how you thin the herd.
Mhm.
But this is America. This is what people want to live about. They want
Mhm.
their borders protected. They want their schools, their public education systems to be not centers of indoctrination. They don't want my daughter just FaceTime called me. I'm sorry. My Hannah Banana. She doesn't realize I'm live on the DPB show. She usually realizes that after she calls me. But what Americans want.
Mhm. They
To
just want to be
reason-
left alone. I think that was the overarching theme. Just, you know what? No. You know, we can tolerate some of the things that maybe he tweets about or he says that are stupid, but we can't afford to live. We can't afford our cars, our gasoline, our anything, our grocery prices. If you can't afford any of the basic living needs to survive, none of the other cultural stuff matters. People can tolerate only so much of the social stuff as long as they can afford to live. And once they can't, they're like, "Nah, I'm out. I'm not doing the trans thing. I'm out. I can't afford to eat." So Democrats spent a message of love everybody except conservatives, and it failed. They spent $1 billion or more on an election at a bunch of frauds in Hollywood, and it lost. It cost them. They spent a message about we're for the people while screwing over the same people that they said they were for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what happened. And now we have another election coming up in the spring. It doesn't, come out as the landslide of the presidential, but they're just as important. You want to keep your schools away from the woke crap that Democrats are still infiltrating? Vote. Your school board elections, your mayors, your townships, your county boards, all that stuff. They're still important at the local level. We can't stop now. The gas pedal needs to be completely to the floor.
Yeah. Ryan, I was started looking through some of the clips, additional clips that I put up, and like you have mentioned.
Yeah.
So if you're digging up Whoopi Goldberg or the CEO of Axios, where I know Bongino spent some time on him today, where he's coming out declaring that the journalism isn't dead, that these people are actually the hard workers, even though they're the ones who put forth all of this scandalous false news about the Russia, the PP hoax, and everything else,
Yeah.
on and on and on, continuing that theme, even to this day. This is what I'm saying. How do you show these people mercy and grace? Because it's, and I'm not saying I have the answer. I wish I did, because their actions continue to show you that they don't want mercy and grace. They want to destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
What have you got? I just saw it pop up.
Well, this is something that'll help you illustrate how you come back at people.
Oh, you've got a good one here.
So there's some language, but it's interesting. When the Democrats, effed around, they found out. So there's just some advice for those who's still going forth and trying to process how we continue.
Oh, there's,
Today we're going to talk about how.
You got it on there?
Do I need the dump button for?
And I think we have mostly adults watching.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, today we're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So first we have to decide how much do we want to find out. So let's say in this case, I want to find out at a level of 7. Okay, so I find that level on my graph and I come horizontally to my gradient line. Where it intersects with my gradient line, I'm going to come straight down to where it intersects with my fuck around line. That there is going to tell me how much I have to fuck around to find out what I need to find out. See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out. So I hope this lesson is helpful.
Thank you.
And that's what I'm. And I like it. I am, even with the language doesn't bother me, but that's what the accountability versus
there's your accountability message.
the new world that we live in under Trump 2.0, President Trump 47, it's not going to be much different on their side. I mean, granted, now we've got the ability to go full throttle. You talk about going Mach 5 in an AI generated jet.
Yeah.
That's what Trump's positioning himself, and they see it.
Yes.
I mean, these folks are people who have the ability to understand. I do believe that they're cognizant enough to realize what the future holds, what what lies beyond January 20th. And that's has them just utterly freaking out, because while they were basically manufacturing a world, a utopia that they believe the world should be.
Hmm.
Trump too was building. But he knew they had a lot of work. He had to talk to a lot of people. He had to do a lot
Right.
of rallies. He had to cover a lot of ground. We talked about that.
Persuade a lot of people that didn't agree with him. You had
Persuade
to.
a lot of people, and you just persuade them by showing them the facts.
Yes.
This is where the longer he hung around, the longer they showed you what they were willing to do
Hmm.
to get rid of someone who ultimately ran on the message of America first,
Yeah.
as if that's a toxic message.
Controversial of the
Yeah.
21st century.
So they know what lies ahead. I think all of us do. When you listen to the world's wealthiest man in Elon Musk, and you see the launch of SpaceX, and you see what he's been able to achieve, and he's one who just wants people to expand
Yes.
beyond the captivation of a mind that's mindless.
Yeah.
That's basically programmed by these these sources like MSNBC
Hmm.
and the New York Times. And this is what he wants out of America too. He believes our greatest days are ahead of us.
Yeah.
And I believe they are too. But don't think that those days are going to come without a considerable amount of pushback. Now, I'm confident at this point to say this. I know some people don't believe this. We're not going to see the riots in the streets. In fact, as I've said before, a lot of those people who were persuaded to riot, I think have come on board with the other side. I think they switched teams.
Hmm.
I think they realized in a lot of ways that wasn't the America they wanted. They
Hmm.
believed they were fighting for a true cause, and they were willing to do things that no one on our side was doing.
Yeah.
And despite the insinuation that we are the party,
Yeah.
the conservative party, are the people that want to start street riots, we're not. So I don't foresee that being part of this solution or part of this equation.
Well, and look what happened after the election. We're coming up on 21 days. Look at the only ones who are being loud against the agenda are the ones running the states that are progressive.
Yeah.
The
But-
leadership. It's not the people. There's no burning buildings right now after the
No.
election. They realize, yes, man, we got our
Mm,
butts handed to us.
Yeah.
I guess we
It's-
just go back to work.
It's the mayors. It's the
Yeah.
mayors. It's
Yeah, it's the governors.
It's the
Yeah,
governors.
it's the leadership.
So it's the Democrat leadership, but also the Republican leadership, obviously
Yeah.
rattling their sabers, saying they won't approve.
Yeah, the John Thunes, the Mitch McConnells, the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they're few and far between, because I think they also realize what just happened. They're seeing that Trump's popularity continues to skyrocket.
yes,
People want what Trump ran on.
yes.
Make America great again. That's part of the movement. And it's so much bigger than Donald J. Trump. In
Mhm.
fact, it supersedes Donald J. Trump for the next 12 years.
Hmm.
And that's another thing.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if you get in there and you start clearing out government agencies, these NGOs who are lock in step with fixing our elections,
Hmm.
that is what this particular election cycle is going to uncover more than anything else, is how steeped these folks were in moving the needle in the electorate. And they were, and they are, and they still are, and they're still trying to do it, but they got exposed, and it's going to continue. When Trump takes the oath of office and things start moving in a Trump administration, in a Trump presidency, hold on. As President Trump said, hold on to your britches, because things are going to happen quickly. That first 100 days,
Hmm.
I think, is going to, you talk about, once again, Mach 5.
Yeah,
We're
he's going to go Mach 5 on the government.
You're going to see Elon Musk launch one of his rockets
Yeah,
into,
yeah.
into space, which I already think, come on. I don't want to sound like somebody that's fishing out there for people to say, oh gosh, but with the technology that Elon has in space already,
Hmm.
Trump launched Space Force.
Yeah.
He partners with a guy who has privatized space travel.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Can you piece this thing together? How much do they really know, and what are they going to unleash on the world come January 20th?
Hmm.
Which gives you an idea, because all you have to do is watch your competition and the way they're responding right now. And they are literally in full meltdown mode. Some of them are groveling and crawling to the altar and asking for repentance. But once again,
Hmm.
grace and mercy. I am a person of faith, as Ryan is. And yes, we can be cynical, but grace and mercy is what we're called by Christ to offer people. I want to be offering grace and mercy, but I also want accountability. And I get it. Grace and mercy are gifts that were given to me that are free, right? Grace is a free gift. I can't do anything to earn it. Mercy is something that, is a decision by us. Do we show
Hmm.
mercy towards another human being? Yes. But at the same time, I believe there's accountability, and we have to hold people accountable. Everyone over the past 4 years, over the past 8 years, over the past 12 years, over the past 16 years, over the past 70 years, who have basically put in motion this movement to destroy our country, they have to be held accountable. And once again, I'm all for it. Tulsi
Hmm.
Gabbard was one of those people.
Yeah.
JFK was one of those people.
Yep.
And I, to this day, I don't think they agree with everything in the platform and what's going to happen. But they do know one thing, that we are the United States of America, not the divided States of
Yeah.
America.
And it's the different ideas that founded this nation. There were no Democrat and Republicans back then when the nation was founded. It was a collection of flawed individuals who had the simple idea of forming a nation against what they just came from. And many of them disagreed wholeheartedly on how the nation should be founded. And that's those type of things that are happening today. Trump has surrounded himself with people who disagree with him ideology for decades, but they have come together united for one nation to resolve and grow
Under
out of what
God,
they've had. Yeah.
indivisible, with liberty
Mhm.
and justice for all. And that's where I think that's where we're at, Ryan.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's where we find ourselves. Hey, Vinny, thanks for checking in. I'm gonna get Vinny over in the comment section. I don't know if you saw that. He's talking about she's
Yeah.
got 5 million to catch up. But Vinny has got a great story. I'd like to get him on to talk about it, his story and his life, and we're gonna try doing that
Yeah.
between Thanksgiving and Christmas. But Ryan, I know that we're not going to come live on Thanksgiving Day. I think that we'll take a day off.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next Tuesday. And between now and Tuesday, there's not going to be a lot of movement. I think we are a nation in celebration.
Mhm.
And I think it's the people. And I know I've heard it from Bongino many times that people are policy, not
Yeah.
policy, but people
That's
are
right.
policy. But that's the struggle. In lies the struggle,
Mhm.
because there are two factions of the people and what they believe. And I truly believe what Tucker said. Most of the bureaucrats, they don't care about you and I.
No.
They don't care about this country. They don't care about the well-being of the people of this great country. The ones who go out every day in, day out, and do the work to create the dollars that were taxed. And then, of course, we know that those dollars are misappropriated, are
Yeah.
spent
Every day. Yeah.
every day.
Mhm.
So thank God for the Department of Governmental Efficiency. Thank God for the cabinet that Trump has assembled,
Mhm.
the diversity of that cabinet,
Yeah.
the uniqueness of that cabinet, because these are true players.
Mhm.
These are people who understand, contrary to what the left says, that these are all imbeciles that basically can't find their way out of. No, that's not the way it is. That's
Yeah.
the way it is
Have
these.
they found Biden's cabinet standing in a picture lately? I mean, could they really say anything about Trump's cabinet picks at this point?
Well, they can't. And
The
they,
clown car that they
and
had.
that works. Trying to disparage the Trump selections is
Yeah.
as much as calling half, if not greater, of the country Nazis and fascists.
Yeah.
It just didn't work then. It's not working now.
Mhm.
Rachel Maddow is going to be out of a job soon, and so many more like her. I don't know what they will do. I
Mhm.
hope we will extend grace and mercy to them.
Yeah.
And somehow, some way, maybe Rachel will join a convent somewhere and spend a lot of days on her knees in prayer.
Yeah.
That's all we can hope for everybody. I hope I spend more days in prayer on my knees, because we still need to be praying for this country.
Mhm.
We have won a battle, but we've not won the war. And yes, ultimately we realize that the war has been won. All of this is for naught because Jesus Christ is Lord of
Mhm.
all, and He will return to this earth someday. Please do not tarry. Come, Lord Jesus, come. The sooner the better, and He will take us to a place that He's promised. That is beyond anything our eyes or ears or anything, any of our senses can even begin to perceive. But until that day,
Mhm.
we are here.
Yep.
We're called to be grace-filled people, to be people of mercy. But we also are called to be people who hold people accountable. And I think that is the humane thing to do.
Mhm.
That is the graceful thing to do. That is mercy. Showing people mercy sometimes is holding them accountable.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, got anything else that you got shared there, Ryan? I see you got something pulled up.
Yeah. So speaking of accountability, I think Kat even mentioned this morning on her show. The Denver mayor has saying this week that he would be willing to go to jail to protect illegals in the city of Denver.
Yes.
And so Tom Homan, the newly appointed border czar, an actual border expert, unlike Kamala, had something to say about it recently. And this is from the post-millennial clip.
Tom, you heard this mayor out there in Colorado. I want to get your reaction to it, and I want you to be clear about who has jurisdiction: the federal government or state and local governments. And if you're a sanctuary state or city, are you breaking the law?
You're absolutely breaking law. All you have to do is look at Arizona versus U.S. You'll see these breaking law. But look, me and the Denver mayor, we agree on one thing. He's willing to go to jail. I'm willing to put him in jail because there's a statute. It's Title 8 United States Code 1324 III. And what it says is it's a felony if you knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. It's also a felony to impede a federal law enforcement officer. So if we don't want to help, that's fine. He can get the hell out of the way. But we're going to go do the job. President Trump has a mandate for American people. We got to secure this country. We got to save American lives. And I find it shocking that any mayor of a city would say, President Trump's been clear, we want to concentrate on public safety threats and national security threats. I find it hard to believe that any mayor or governor would say they don't want public safety threats removed from their neighborhoods. I mean, I don't know what the hell is going on in Denver, but we're going to go and we're going to fix it. If you don't want to fix it, if you don't want to protect his communities, President Trump and ICE will.
Tom.
Yep.
I think what I'd like to see is I'd like some of these mayors and governors to actually show up at UFC and 309 or whatever it is, the events that Trump goes to. I'd like to see these people. I'd like to see them show up. And there was Hannah. She was calling me again. I don't know if there's an emergency. Let me check real quick.
Yeah.
Here.
But Tom Homan is speaking accountability with grace and mercy. You don't want to help? That's fine. I'll hold you accountable.
Yes.
You're going to be part of the problem.
Ryan's talking about accountability. Okay, so this was an emergency. I thought it was an emergency, Hannah Kate.
Sorry, Dad.
I'll tell
you're good.
Bye-bye. She goes, are you on your show? Is that why you're not calling me, answering my calls? I love it.
Yep.
But no, but the point being, that Tom Homan's making, sitting next to Greg Abbott, if you didn't know who that person was,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
governor of Texas, who has been, took things into his own hands and started to shut down the border with his own National Guard because he knew that the federal government wasn't going to
Yeah,
comply.
and that's one of their main pillars of jobs, right? Secure the border. That's in the federal code and federal law. That's not the state's job to do so.
But yeah, some of these mayors, I think that's the solution. We should sign them up for a grudge match.
Mhm.
With, maybe we put them up against, who do they want to go against? Maybe, you know what? I got it. We take the mayor of Denver and we get one of the gang members
There
from
you go.
Transargaga or whatever, the Venezuelan gangs, and we put them in a cage match together.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go, mayor. And then how will we decide? Okay, mayor, if you win, you get to keep the people that you just fought for. Wouldn't that be a great title match?
Celebrity death match in a way. Yeah, there you go. All the celebrities and governors and mayors that want to keep illegals over American citizens. Just put them in a cage match.
I mean, but how, once again, they truly believe they're performing acts of grace and mercy
Yeah. Yeah.
by harboring
Yeah. They're being patriots. Yeah.
people who are here illegally, going against the law. I don't know. Ryan, I think we're going to continue to talk about this at great length. I don't think that we're going to resolve a lot of this because I think it's hard to meet in the middle. I think that some of these folks have started to realize, because a lot of this content that we talk about has gotten out. Yes, there are the mindless ones, the ones that their brains have already turned to mush. They continue to espouse. In fact, some of them are still saying that Trump's a felon. He's a rapist. He's a
Well, it's funny also that every one of his appointees has been accused so far too, so that's fine.
of the same
Whatever.
thing that he did. Like I said, keep going down that road. It's keep digging that hole. Don't put the shovel down. Yes, bring Kamala back. Let's see if she can spend another $1.5 billion in 107 days. I mean, that should show you everything you need to know. If she couldn't take care of the donors' money, how was she ever going to take care
They
of
set up a GoFundMe to help her pay for her debt.
Yeah. All right. It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This is the end of the DPV show. Ryan, you know what? You should do the Thanksgiving blessing.
I will do so.
I
will.
This is like Clark Griswold.
I should say it, Grace. Grace. She's been dead for 30 years.
I'm talking about the time when you should tell the story there. But no, I think you should end the show with a Thanksgiving Day blessing. So I'm going to go ahead and refer to you. Go ahead.
Let's do it. All right. Dear gracious and merciful God, we are very grateful to get together this week. America is grateful to get together this week. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but we are very thankful to get together families and loved ones to celebrate not only spending time together, but what you have given us. You've given us a great nation, and we are coming back to you. So help guide us back to you so that we continue to be thankful for your guidance. I pray for everybody who is suffering this holiday season to find peace. And those who need a home, find a home. Friends, family, you're all welcome. If you need a dinner, you need a meal, we'll find you. But thank you, God, for protecting us and watching over our nation and each and every one of us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ryan. Well, I appreciate you guys joining us. Continue to like, share, subscribe to all the different platforms. Push this out. Get out there. Be the light. Be the peace. Be a person of grace and mercy. You don't have to disparage people. You got to love them. Basically, they've been so demoralized, which is the meaning of the word. They lack morality. That's why they're in the condition they are. They need hope. They need a message of peace, and nobody's too far gone. As I said earlier, everyone is deserves mercy and grace. And because every one of us who are where we're at today, who accepted grace and
Mhm.
accepted mercy,
Yep.
if somebody didn't extend that to us, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So
Absolutely.
make sure that you're people of the light, not people of the darkness. Continue to carry that light amongst your families. A lot of hubbub about um, the other side promoting, cutting off family members for political reasons. My God, that is such a I don't even know how to put that into words.
Childish thing to do.
It's beyond childish.
Yeah.
It's an immaturity.
Yeah.
It's a lack of, you want to be the party of kindness and tolerance and love. And
Except for your MAGA supporting family members.
but except when it comes to the people I don't agree with.
Yeah.
I want them to agree with me, but I don't want to agree with them.
Yeah.
It's not how this world works.
Got it.
Unfortunately, for you, this world is truly a world of one body, one bread, one body, one Lord of all. I mean, there's not two lords, there's not three lords, there's one Lord, and He's the Lord of all. We're all part of the body of Christ. Some of the parts of the body aren't in the best condition, but we got to love them anyway. Speaking of that, I'll pan down just before I get off. Yes, there it is. You see it. The wing is still in recovery mode. Continue to pray for me and the healing. The lazy boy, the sleeping lazy boy is brutal.
Yeah.
I heard it was brutal, and yes, it is brutal. But I do want to give a shout out to Mrs. Producer. I know she's not on the show right now because I could see that, but shout out to my wife. I mean, you couldn't have a better caretaker than somebody that gets up every 3 hours and makes sure that you're getting a little something in your belly
Mhm.
before you have to take some high potent meds.
Mhm.
And meds don't work well with me no matter what it is, even if it's Tylenol or I'm not a med taker.
Yeah.
But she's been putting in long nights, impossible odds, keeping her eye on the keyhole. That's one of my favorite Styx songs. And she's been doing that, and it's because she extends mercy and she extends grace. And so I'm going to enjoy my family. I hope that you enjoy your family. Ryan loves you very much. I
Mhm.
love you,
Not as much as Jesus does.
but not as thank you, Ryan. Ryan finished that off well. All right. Well, we will see you guys. We will see. Hold on. One more comment from Vinny. What did Vinny have to say? Already peace talks with Israel because of Trump. Exactly, Vinny.
Mhm.
The people need to understand she truly cares about America. You got it, Vinny. All right, Vinny. I'm going to be reaching out to you. All right, Ryan. Happy Thanksgiving to you, your family, Amanda. Tell your dad I said hey.
Absolutely.
We will see you